a real pleasure for me to be here. First, because I love the PW. I have been in Amsterdam twice. It's a great ecosystem, nurturing a lot of content. And also because I love when we are sharing our results from research, and then we see after some years that then you are applying, or some periods that you are applying that. I'm going to talk about human AI collaboration. We have been working in the Digital Supply Chain Transformation Lab on all this phenomenon for many years. I would say for 5 years so far. Then we love at MIT to quantify our results. We love numbers, and this is what we are doing. We analyze how human and AI interact for the main purpose of boosting performance in the supply chain. I'm going to share with you some experiments and some projects we have been working, and in a nutshell, what we have found. So hopefully then you can also learn a little bit from there. So we always, of course, love to translate all our results into something that can be applicable to the managers and executives. So then we publish all our results at MIT Journal Management Review, Harvard Business Review, and very boring scientific papers, but you can go deeper into the roots of why and how we are doing all this. And I'm going to share some of the main highlights from all these publications. This is the agenda for today. What is going on in AI, especially in the supply chain management field. How we should differentiate between automation, augmentation, and the next stage that will be autonomous supply chain. It's a journey. It's not something static. It's a journey. Why? Because AI learns, supply chain learns, and human learns. So all this opportunity for learning, all this dynamism need to be activated, putting a lot of different mirrors around. Not only mirrors in your human decision makers, also in your developers, but also in your performance. How you can improve, measuring the deltas, measuring the learnings, measuring the improvements that are behind of all this journey with AI, as the previous speakers mentioned. And in the third point, we are going to discuss about how human AI team together, how they can collaborate in order to augment the impact of AI. What we have found in our laboratory is that, those companies that understand that AI is a journey, transforming supply chains and procurement with AI is a journey, long-term journey, that requires a lot of work. Actually, it's a U-curve. It's not something static that you plug and play AI, and then you find the performance. It's not. It does not work in that way. It's a journey. So you need to pay attention to what is going on in your journey with your teams, with your executives, with your systems, with your data, of course, and with your agents, whatever kind of AI we are going to talk. Actually, then, in the work that we are doing in the Digital Supply Chain Transformation Laboratory, we are analyzing AI from many different angles. It's not only Gen AI, it's not only agentic AI, but it's not only that. There are many forms that AI can be applied to that. Maybe you can do more customized machine learning using AI, or maybe you can combine all of them with non-AI systems like very traditional rule-based decision-making. So then all this ecosystem needs to transform and need to change. So we need to pay attention to all these opportunities and these changes. We are going to talk in the third point about augmentation in demand forecasting. We have been doing some analysis, and then autonomous negotiations. Let's go. What is going on in supply chain, especially the opportunities end-to-end? I'm sure that you know that, of course, then AI is impacting demand planning, of course, demand forecasting, but not only that, putting the signal upstream in the supply chain, end-to-end, how frictionless could be implemented, so how we can take the digital thread of an order, understand with data, and then to activate different opportunities in order to move the product downstream more efficiently. Then this demand signal could go not only for doing demand prediction, but also we can predict lead times, predict the behavior of our suppliers, predict the capacities in our warehouses, predict the risks that are behind all the context that is affecting, for example, nowadays with all the tariffs. Last mile delivery is complex because then you know that then we are having a lot of opportunities on getting real-time signals and then integrate all these signals. Managing suppliers, this is why you are here today, how we can, understand the behavior of the suppliers in advance, during the execution with the suppliers, and also forward-looking, and also then customer satisfaction. That is an important anchor point for all the supply chain upstream. But in order to understand how we can better deploy human AI teaming, it's important to differentiate what we are doing with AI, or what we do with AI. So first, automation, great. We have heard about all the robotic process automation, all the agents. Then we are creating certain, rules for executing certain tasks. For example, rules for supplier selection. But it does not mean that it's AI on it. So then maybe starting with very basic rules, so then you translate the decisions that, your category managers or your experts in the supplier side are doing, translate it into very simple rules that can be scaled up. This is the path to follow. The next, augmentation. And this is where all these rules can be expanded. Expanded in different dimensions. Could be expanded, end-to-end, upstream with more suppliers, or maybe, after you are having demand signal with demand forecasting, maybe predicting, the lead times of suppliers. So then, but for that, we need humans. Humans who could put the guardrails of how the AI is could make better decisions. What are the expectations in performance? What are our accuracy expectations? What is going on when the accuracy is lower? When we are decreasing accuracy, asking with a very humble and very, question attitude, what is going on? What happened? Why happened? What are the causes that created these changes? So the human can start questioning the AI outcomes, but always having a particular structure of a task or a process. Or maybe the human also can assess exceptions for this automation. What is going on if we are selling a product in a region when we are having new elections? So how this could affect the elections into the buying behavior, into the supplier behavior, etc. So for that, it's important that the humans understand, or the experts understand, the process as the unit of analysis. And then the next natural process is autonomous supply chain. So the idea is that we structure the process with rules, then we have the experts that are the humans in order to help to get more and more performance, and then there is the opportunity for AI to make decisions for us. And this is tricky, because it's very, we can be tempted to very easily make the AI to make decisions for us. But this is dangerous because they can go to very dangerous, outcomes. So this is why having a strong performance, understanding of what do we envision with our supply chain is really important. Do we envision, moving on suppliers more on sustainability, more on efficiency, more on service and lead times, and which kind of different suppliers could be in one path over the other? And then to guide that decision-making, so the performance expected guide us about where to go with these autonomous supply chains. The idea is about learning to discover, because the opportunity, as we mentioned, the previous speakers mentioned, then discover is something that we need to assume, and it's part of the game. And we need to put all these mirrors in order to understand this discovery. And from learn to discover to learn to optimize. And then optimize is a big word. We in science, we love the term optimization, but it's tricky because it's to find the optimum. But the optimum depends on the context, depending on the decisions, depends on the behavior of my demand, depending on the behavior of my suppliers, depending also the behavior and the expectations of the humans who are making decisions. And this is the point. We need to be able to understand the context where this optimization is taking place. For example, how we can expand on making more cost savings with certain suppliers. This is an optimization that could be different today than tomorrow. So all these trade-offs need to be managed very efficiently. And the most important element is to understand that this is a loop. It's a journey. The opportunity is to how we could activate all these learning loops, as we are having these feedback loops, in order to understand what is going on. For that, performance is important, but learning is important. So we need to monitor both, how we are impacting in performance, but also how we are, impacting in the learning of the overall ecosystem, not only how the agent learns, how humans learn to interact with the agent, how this trust is being developed, because trust is an opportunity for learning. So we need to monitor all these conditions of the feedback loop, also understanding that the humans are behind. So let's go to these, two special fields for applying human AI. The first one is augmentation in demand forecasting. So, I wanted to illustrate this with this video. I love it, because it's how the human and the machine are dancing together. Here, there is a lot of synchronization, some improvisation. Then, sometimes the robot is following the human sometimes follow the robot. They synchronize each other, they learn each other, they need to train each other. So then this synergy between the two is important. So this analogy, we can bring it into our supply chain and our processes, according to the learning expectations and the performance expectations that we are having. So then, in the laboratory, we have been doing some experiments, as mentioned, and I'm going to share with you some of our experiments today, very, very briefly, of course. The first one was about how human and AI work together in demand planning. We made an experiment, a big experiment, real experiment, not in the lab. It was a real decision-making in the fast-moving consumer goods company. We analyzed more than 1,600 SKUs, and then we were running in real time demand forecasting for all these SKUs after a training of 50 periods for the machine learning system. And then we played two kind of treatments, I would say. And these treatments were assigned to each SKU in a random manner, in order to be, fair with the experiment. So the first one is automation, full automation. Certain SKUs were treated with automation, so the demand forecasting was done purely with AI/ML. The second treatment is when the human, the forecaster, intervenes. And not, of course, in all the steps of the demand forecasting, in certain steps, in the most critical steps. And then the forecaster was intervening, of course, for the main purpose of improving, as you can imagine, demand forecasting accuracy error. Our goal is to reduce the error or increase the accuracy, as we mentioned. And then the real decision maker is the inventory manager or the demand planner, who takes the signal from the demand forecasting and makes decisions about how to move the inventory and how to put the inventory in the right location, in the right size, for the right service. So the inventory level does not interact with AI in this experiment. It's the forecaster who interacts with the AI. What did we find? Very interesting results, and everything is quantified in some of our papers, is that the most important thing is we need to contextualize how humans, forecasters, and AI, in this case, machine learning demand forecasting, how they interact with each other. We expected that the forecaster, for example, imagine a new product development. We don't have history about this new product. So then we expected that in a very high uncertain environment, the human, the forecaster, is going to help a lot. And it's not. The other way around. AI could learn from comparing and contrasting this new product with other products. But also in the other extreme, when the uncertainty is low, human, the forecaster, can really help a lot. Can really guide the AI/ML to learn in the right direction, of course, with the main purpose of improving the, improving the, it's not pointing, the accuracy, yeah? Also, we found that algorithm aversion played a critical role. And it's when the inventory manager, demand planner on your right, is absorbing the information coming from the forecaster and the forecasting, and then he does not, or she does not, trust on the outcome of AI, even in the context of high accuracy. So AI could bring very high accuracy, but the decision maker, the demand planner, does not trust the AI, even in front of very high outcomes. Why this happened is because algorithm aversion is playing a key role. Actually, when we measured if the demand planner knows that the human was on the loop, then he paid much more attention to the results. So again, we should pay attention to all this because we can pay a huge amount of money on all these implementations. But then if we don't understand that the real decision makers, they don't embrace the outcome of AI, then it will take longer. So being aware that the human and AI need to interact, need to create an environment of trust, then explainability should be there, that we train the demand planner in this case to rely more and more on AI, maybe showing that in front of this context, AI can help in X, Y, Z kind of percentage, then this really, accelerates the impact of AI. Then, as part of this research, we've published an article at the Sloan Management Review trying to translate all these analysis into some actionable framework. And then you can take a look to this article. And then we have the entrance is from the product side. So we have, again, on the y-axis, we have product demand volatility. And also on the x-axis, we have product life cycle. What are our recommendations? So we analyze, dozens of case studies about how the companies are implementing all this. Let's start with the first quadrant, what we call demand sense AI. So the idea is that imagine fast fashion, then where the demand volatility is very high. We don't know where are going to be the trends, and also the product life cycle is quite short. In this particular quadrant, AI it could take a critical role, but it needs a different deployment compared with other quadrants. So AI will need advanced machine learning prediction techniques, reinforced by other kind of techniques like LLMs, natural language processing, etc., using not only internal data from the demand or the operations, but also external data, exogenous factors that could help us to analyze very quickly the signals that are coming from this short product life cycle. And then the human is more like a data scientist who are shaping and shaping the model. Then we have other quadrants. Let me go very quickly. So then when we are having short product life cycle and then low demand volatility, what we call about cluster and prediction. So the idea is that all these products that have short life cycle, for example, in the electronics computing industry, then clustering is important, and then we can deploy particular machine learning prediction techniques for this kind of clustering. And then the planners, provide periodic adjustment, but it's not as relevant as it was in the quadrant number 2, quadrant number 1. Then quadrant number 3, traditional extrapolation, is the more traditional time series techniques could work very well here. We don't need very sophisticated techniques in machine learning AI. The idea is that maybe the human can help on contextualizing, for example, regulations, or how the supplier side could increase maybe in the uncertainty. Batteries could be a good example here. And the fourth quadrant is here where the human has a more prominent role, is when we have long life cycles, high volatility in demand, but the human can better interpret what is going to be the long-term trend. And also strategy can make more sense. Let me finish with another set of experiments that we are doing in the autonomous negotiations. We are finishing an article at Harvard Business Review, so please stay tuned that we are going to publish all this work. And then in the automated negotiations, then human and AI could play different roles depending on the stages where you can be. Assisted negotiations, so then again, the AI assists the human in order to make decisions. So where, I mean, he or she can understand a strategy, he can implement some heuristic rules, he or she can also apply some prediction about risks, about prices from suppliers. And then we are working with a pharma company in order to build this negotiation body. Going forward, semi-autonomous negotiations is when then the negotiation could happen from a bot that could be assisted by AI or not, but then we can apply autonomous negotiations, and then I can tell you the savings from AI are wild. So then, again, the decision is automated in the negotiation, but the execution is made by the human at the end. So the risk is quite well controlled. Some examples that are publicly available are Maersk implementing all these autonomous negotiations for some of the freight cargo. And then the latest stage is when we are delegating all the decisions to the system, to the pure autonomous negotiations that not only negotiates from us, but also in some cases executes the agreements, executes the contracts, and going again and again with performance. So final remarks, we should be careful how we are putting human in the loop, because it could be perverse that we are asking humans to remove humans from the loop. This is something that we need to pay very close attention. And then pay attention to algorithm aversion, pay attention to these humans, removing humans from the loop. Then contextualization seems to be important, where and how we are implementing this human-AI collaboration in the different deployments. Then pay attention to the learning, how we are improving, what are the deltas in this demand forecasting accuracy. Be humble with AI, don't expect that AI is going to solve your problems. If you don't pay attention to this, we will not take any advantage and will be painful. And finally, it's a dynamic journey. Learning is important, and learning is also the opportunity. Thank you very much for your attention. Stay tuned. Thank you.